Hello, everyone. For my cultural event presentation, I attended an Al Anon support group meeting at St. Hugh of Lincoln Church in Elgin, Illinois. Throughout this presentation, I'll discuss what I learned about the individuals who attended Al Anon, the challenges they face, the strengths they demonstrate, and how this experience will shape my future social work practice. The meeting I attended is held every Wednesday at 7 p.m. I attended on July 29th. I chose this event because honestly, I did not know this type of support group existed before attending. Honestly, I thought Al Anon and Alcoholics Anonymous were, or as most of us know, AA were the same organization. I learned that AA is designed for individuals struggling with alcohol addiction, while Al Anon provides support for family members, friends, and loved ones who has been affected by someone else's drinking. I wanted to attend this event because I believe it would help me better understand how addiction not only impacts the individual struggling with alcohol use, but also the people closest to them. The population for this event includes individuals who have been impacted by another person's alcohol use. This includes spouses, parents, children, siblings, and close friends. The population is different from my own identity because I have personally not experienced alcoholism within my immediate family or close relationships. Because of this, I entered the meeting with limited knowledge about the challenges and experiences faced by the group. Before attending, I was very nervous. I did not know what to expect. Of course, I've seen movies where they have the typical AA meeting, but never experienced any of this before. Also, I was the youngest one in the group and the only Hispanic attendee, but I did notice that all the participants present were women. These differences made me more aware of the role as an observer entering a space where members already shared a connection and common experiences. Also, a lot of them already knew each other and been going for some time. There was only one other person besides myself that was actually never been there. During the meeting, I realized how deeply addiction can affect an entire family system. Many of the women shared experiences from childhood that continued to impact them into adulthood, even decades later. One woman shared a story that she had avoided thinking about for many years because it was painful to revisit. She felt comfortable enough sharing it with the group because it was connected to a chapter we discussed from the book, which is the one I attached right here, which is called Intimacy in Alcoholic Relationships, which was actually published by Al Anon Family Groups. It's a very good book. What stood out to me the most was that many participants were looking for just a place to simply be heard. Some members shared more than others, and I noticed that those were the ones familiar with one another, offered encouragement and support. Instead of trying to solve each other's problems, it was more members responding with empathy, understanding, and acceptance. This experience helped me understand the importance of emotional support in creating those and why it's so important to create those safe places where individuals can process the difficult experiences they've been through and for them to feel less alone. During the meeting, I learned that Al Anon focuses on spirituality, support, and connection. The meeting started with the Serenity Prayer, which is actually the one I attached to the right as well, followed by they gave expectations for what they were hoping to get out the group and what you kind of are looking at when you walk in, and basically creating a respectful environment is very big for them, of course, especially while members were encouraged to share if they were felt comfortable, listen without interrupting, which was very nice that they made that a pretty clear thing from the beginning, and support one another, of course. I also learned that Al Anon has 12 traditions, which help them guide through the group values and the structure of the group itself. What stood out to me the most was the importance of having a good support system where individuals can connect with others who have similar experiences. Many attendees described their stories as a relief, and this helped me understand that addiction affects not only the individual struggling with alcohol, but of course the people around them. I learned that stigma can not only affect the person experiencing alcohol use problems, but also their family members. People may assume that addiction is a personal failure or that the family should have been able to prevent it. This can create shame and make people feel less comfortable talking about their experiences or asking for the help. At the Al Anon meeting, I saw how having a not judgmental environment allowed them to openly talk about really anything. Some were talking about their marriage life, others were talking about their past experiences, and basically how not having that can definitely be difficult to discuss. I learned that children can particularly be vulnerable when alcoholism is present in a family. Some of the members discuss experiences from childhood that continue to affect them years later in life. This helped me understand that the impact of addiction can extend across from a person's life and potentially across the rest of their life, even generations. Children may experience neglect, abuse, and instability or trauma, and may not always have the ability or resources to change their circumstances. One strength I noticed while attending this meeting was the empathy the members showed towards one another. Many of them were able to relate to each other's experiences, and I noticed how genuinely caring and supportive they were. I think was I think this was important to me because even the smallest gestures, like the way someone listens or the way that they were looking at the person who was currently sharing, can really make someone feel understood and supported. An example of resilience I noticed was the way some of the members described their own healing process and the coping strategies they developed over time. One person shared how something as simple as having a monthly lunch with their children helped them stay connected and intentional about not repeating patterns that they experienced from their own parents. They talk about becoming more aware of behaviors they had picked up over time and making changes in their own lives. For example, I remember one of them were speaking about they noticed that they were doing things that their parents used to do. So they were really just showed me how like their ability to reflect, grow, and just to continue working on being better for themselves and for the people that they love. A person who attended the meeting shared that they had to take a significant amount of time off of work because their loved one became sick and was later hospitalized, unfortunately. Later, when they needed more time off for their own surgery, they discussed that they needed to use FMLA, which is the Family and Medical Leave Act. This showed me how family members affected by addiction may face challenges balancing caregiving responsibilities, personal needs, and work obligations, especially for someone who feels responsible for providing that financial stability for their family. And a lot of them did discuss that they had to be the breadwinners in their family because of the alcoholism affected their spouse so much. Another policy that can impact this population is the Child Abuse Prevent and Treatment Act. This generally this especially is relevant for individuals who experience abuse or neglect while growing up. During the meeting, some members shared experiences from their past that showed how alcoholism within a family can affect loved ones in different ways. This helped me understand a person struggling with alcoholism can sometimes place family members, especially children, in situations where they may experience harm or worse enough trauma. The micro level strategy focuses on the individual and family, which in this case, based on what I observe at Al Anon, a social worker could help provide counseling to help family members process their experiences, establish healthy boundaries, and develop coping strategies, um, would, which I feel like is a lot of them did mention how they did end up getting help as in someone to talk to. Um, Meso level social worker could create support groups or connect people within existing groups like Al-Anon. This can provide individuals within a safe environment where they feel understood and learn from people with other similar experiences. Macro level, social workers can work toward improving systems that can support families affected by addiction, such as access to family support services and workplace protections. They can also provide education to communities about how alcohol use affects the entire family systems. How will this influence my social work practice? This will influence my social work practice because I now understand how important addiction can affect an entire family. Not just the person struggling with alcohol, which even though it was I have said that, it's you really don't realize it until you're in that position and how it really just takes a toll on the whole family. Before going to the meeting, I honestly thought alcoholism was just something affected by just the person itself. I did not necessarily think how much it can affect everyone around them. So after hearing the woman sharing their experiences and things that they're still going through even now, I realized that family members can carry those experiences with them for many years. I also learned how important it is to create a safe and non judgmental space. As a future social workers, I want my clients to feel comfortable talking about what they're going through without feeling like I'm judging them or like I'm trying to fix their problem, which that was like a very big thing I didn't necessarily understand up until I was there. You're not necessarily going for help, it's more just the support and how big support can really go. I really give the woman credit for being able to speak up and be vulnerable about the things that were difficult to even talk about. It showed me how important it is to have people who will listen and support you, or having at least that one person you can go to no matter what. And a lot of them said how they did not have that person, which is why they felt so connected to the woman. And a lot of them were saying how they even do things outside of the group, which I can only imagine if you're going through the same thing with someone. Now it's like I have someone and I know even though it's different situations, they're going to respect what I'm saying. This experience also helped me develop culture humility because I went through to the meeting without knowing much about the Al Anon and not knowing what to expect. I had to really put my assumptions aside and actually listen to the people in the group and what the group's values were, which were really, I wouldn't say cool to read, but in a way cool because it shows how much structure they built into this. I learned that I would not always understand what someone is going through, and that's okay. Honestly, that was a very big thing for me to process with some situations that I was hearing. But as a future social worker, I want to keep learning from my clients and remember that they're the ones who know their own experiences best, and to always create that safe space for someone to feel heard.